It's just you alone on a big soundstage for 3 days, men with leaf blowers.
House of the Dragon has brought us a world filled with fantastical creatures, monumental locations, and vivid characters. But how was this world brought to life? Stick around to find out more about what House of the Dragon looked like without the VFX.
Well done. That was great.
Number 1. Seriously, hold on tight.
Hello guys, we are going on to set. Dragon riding again.
House of the Dragon actor Leo Ashton was challenged with having to ride a dragon at work on more than one occasion. But getting into this saddle wasn't going to be a pony ride around the park.
The first day was quite hard, and the next day I came in, I felt so much power and I was like, I need to get this.
This dragon moves like a giant mechanical bull. Putting together this scene presented several challenges, including the moment when the dragon goes vertical and Leo's character needs to hang on from the reins. Number 2. Every tournament needs an arena, right?
And I said, really, Jim? Have you got the money to build that? And he goes, yeah.
The tournament took place not in a field with some flags and a few onlookers around it, but in the depths of the city, surrounded by buildings and a colossal arena that reminds us of the real-life Colosseum. For this, a special structure was created out of a large dome and a half-moon-shaped section of the arena. While CGI was part of this, most of it was carefully built in real life. Number 3. You can't CGI a soft landing. For a stunt performer, gravity works, and hard ground is hard. When preparing the grounds for the construction of the arena set, while much of the scene was created using CGI, some things just needed to be done for real. When working with horses, you need soft ground, and stunt performers seem to like it too.
You don't want the horses to hurt themselves, you don't want the stuntmen to hurt themselves.
That meant before construction could start on the arena, an area of land had to be heavily modified, leveled, and carefully layered with the right materials, in order to accommodate the horses and stunt performers who would be working in the arena set. Number 4. Is this where we do science? When we look at this giant construction in this huge warehouse, we're reminded more of a science facility at NASA than a world of dragons and drama. Even hearing the production staff talk about this monster sounds more like something from a sci-fi.
It's that next evolution of the ability to see your visual effects live in camera while you're shooting.
Some might say that this is what the world of House of the Dragon really looks like, and that's because this massive space is a cylinder of imagination. There are 2,000 video screens inside, onto which the background can be projected when filming a scene. This helps not only with producing the amazing visuals of House of the Dragon, but it assists actors in feeling more immersed in the action, which can make for an even better performance. Number 5. Going nowhere fast.
Ultimately, on the set, there was just this unadorned bridge.
The real-life location Dragonstone Bridge might be impractical for filming, but at least it goes somewhere. House of the Dragon used a special technology to capture and recreate a section of the real-life location. What we see is a long and foggy bridge with dragons that circle around it. What the actors see might be similar, thanks to the thousands of video screens that surrounded this set. But the bridge only leads to the other side of the giant room. Number 6. Ahoy! 1/3 of this ship was actually built for the filming of House of the Dragon, and while CGI included the horizon, the ocean, and of course the dragons, there was actually a series of fans that moved the sails and put a wind effect onto the actors' hair and costumes, as well as a special water cannon on set that would emulate waves crashing against the side of the ship and sending sea spray up into the air, and sometimes onto the actors on deck. Number 7. Duh. Doing it the simple way might not sound like the most frequent choice when making House of the Dragon, but even this fantastical production had its exceptions. Sometimes the best solutions to a problem is the simplest one. In this scene where the CGI dragon swoops the deck of the ship, the challenge was to make it appear as though the ship was tilting over slightly in the water. Building a ship was tricky enough, and so for this scene, it was up to the actors to move together as if they were losing their balance. But this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of problem solving. If you've ever seen an episode of Star Trek, this group movement might be familiar to you. Number 8. Gotcha. It's understandable that we might assume most of the ornate and unusual things on screen in House of the Dragon are created using CGI. It's a powerful tool and it gets used liberally. It does the trick of tricking us into thinking we're looking at something real, but sometimes we get tricked twice. The collection of artifacts surrounding the sea snake were actually made by a talented and tricky team of set decorators using inspirations from museums and the real world.
He would take a treasure from each place, and that's what kind of became a big part of his set.
And most of it was made from insulation foam that had been carefully carved and painted. Number 9. They're anything but two-dimensional. Filming large crowd scenes with hundreds of actors in costume and in character can be a daunting task. There are plenty of considerations to be made, and each take can be a difficult one to coordinate. With the long list of details to follow, adding the restrictions that come with filming during a pandemic didn't make things any simpler. With having 150 background performers on set, the team had to get creative.
So where we have to put crowd into a shot that doesn't have enough crowd in it.
They filmed some sections of the crowd together, and for the rest, they pulled each background performer aside and got them to perform a few actions in front of a green screen. The team then used computer graphics to fill out the rest of the crowd with these card people. Number 10. When are we?
We started shooting 1 year and we finished a year later.
The Claim Your Dragon scene took 7 months to film, and most of it was done on either end of those 7 months. This could be a challenge for actor Leo Ashton, who would need to recall the details of his performance after such a long time. The visual effects team was faced with the challenge of concealing that Leo had aged visibly, and keeping this from being apparent when cutting between takes shot 7 months apart. Number 11. From hand drawing to computer graphics and back again? Shooting on the Targaryon Flagship found the production team following what might seem like an odd procedure. First, they designed the ship, then they animated it, planned out the actor and camera movements using computer graphics, and then they built the ship. Only to start all over again by shooting live actors on the ship set and then going back and doing more CGI. There must have been a method to their madness, cause we think the end result is fantastic. Number 12. My, what a big dragon you have! One of the concepts of the House of the Dragon series is that dragons keep growing as they get older. When they are very young, they can fit comfortably perched on your shoulder. As they age, they eventually become too large to even fit through a door. But this dragon is something else. Vahgar is 130 years old, which means she's one big dragon.
Certainly the largest dragon you've ever seen on Game of Thrones.
In fact, she's so big that she doesn't fit into most places in her world anymore. Working with an imaginary creature of that size must have been hard to imagine, but the saddle gives us an idea of just how large this creature is meant to be. Number 13. This might be the largest dragon ever ridden on screen before. With a bigger dragon comes bigger movements. In order to make the riding the dragon scene work, the team had to design a special saddle that would emulate the movements of the dragon, as well as allowing actor Leo Ashton to ride on it while performing the scene. This specially built machine was made to read the pre-production visual sketches of the scene and produce them as a sort of mechanical bull ride. This machine also had to accurately re-perform each movement in order to get multiple takes of the scene without any mismatches. Number 14. Point not taken. While the background and most of the crowd might be added in later using the magic of cinema, this scene from the stadium has an element of reality that everyone on set could feel that day. Those horses are real, and those riders are actually jousting. They used a few special pieces of equipment and had a lot of training, of course. Stunt jousters use special lances made of lightweight wood that has been cut lengthwise along the desired shatter point and painted to look like they're solid. While a real-life jouster would aim for the body of the opponent, the stunt performers aim to hit each other's shields with the special lances. When they impact just right, the lance breaks apart in an impressive explosion of wood splinters, and with minimal impact to the stunt performers. Number 15. It's not all CGI. With this show being so closely connected to Game of Thrones, the production team set out to make the audience feel like they were watching the same show. But it seems they also set out to make the actors feel like they were really in the world of House of the Dragon.
You read the script at home and you imagine the scene, and then when you come in, it's always twice the size you imagined it.
Some of these wonderfully crafted locations have been built from the ground up by the production team, but others are real historic places in life. House of the Dragon actor Eve Best said, "You walk around these sets that look like ancient monuments and buildings with massive statues.
Or you can be on these amazing locations. You cannot believe that this is on the Earth somewhere this extraordinary."
While the visual effects team says they held back this season, we think they are off to a strong start. The sets seem to be just as impressive as the in-show locations. Which House of the Dragon location, real or VFX, would you like to visit most? Let us know in the comments below.